Hi, and welcome to the second lecture of Introduction of Israeli Taxation for Alim Hadashim. For those who missed this first part for some reason, I'm Helena Niemetz, I'm an Israeli CPA, I'm Ola Hadasha, I'm an international tax geek, and I'm your navigator today in the complicated world of Israeli taxes. And this part will be dedicated to tax benefits that the new immigrants have in Israel. And Israel is very generous in granting the tax benefits. There is no country in the world that grants comparable tax benefits to the new immigrants. But there are myths and legends around this. And the main myth is that Alim Hadashim are exempt from Israeli taxes on any and all foreign income, which is close to true, but not exactly true. And let's look at it in more detail, because for some of you it may be very relevant. So there is indeed a 10-year exemption on income from abroad for Alim Hadashim, and that's a big thing for those who come to Israel, because they are not immediately taxed on their foreign income, foreign business, foreign dividends, etc. So, but more specifically, you will not pay tax on Israel for the first 10 years from your aliyah on passive income, on foreign passive income. Means dividends from foreign companies, interest from foreign companies and banks, royalties from your foreign inventions, capital gains, which means if you sell an apartment abroad or you sell shares in the companies which are not Israeli companies, or you rent out your apartment again in any country, not only in the country of where you come from, you will be exempt. And you will not need to report this income either to tax authorities. You are not obliged to submit the tax return on it. So that's really good. It's a bit more tricky with the active income. Active income means income from salary, from your business as an individual entrepreneur, and from what's called mishlach yad, like occupation or profession. It's usually free professions like architects and accountants and advocates and things like this. And the rules say that only the income sourced abroad, active income sourced abroad, is also exempt from Israeli tax for 10 years. And from sourced abroad, the Israeli tax code, which is called Pkudat Mas Akhnasa, the income sourced abroad is only the income physically earned outside Israel, which means if you physically do the work, you go on the flight, you go to another country, you do the work there, or you do the business there, you earn the money there, this is not taxed. But if you are sitting in Israel and you are employed by a foreign company and receiving salary, or you are individual entrepreneur or you're a freelancer and you're sitting in Israel and doing the work for foreign clients who are paying you from abroad, technically this is subject to tax, because technically Israel sees it as Israeli sourced income. Let's switch a bit. I say technically, which means yes, by the law, this is the taxable income. What happens in practice? As a tax advisor, I can't tell you to not declare any income, especially if it's your only or main source of income, or if you're getting money to Israeli bank account, please declare it. There are two ways to declare it. You may either register as an individual entrepreneur in issue invoices, which is the cleanest way, or your company, if you are an employee, the company which employs you will need to register in Israel and pay Israeli taxes. It's called permanent establishment of the foreign company. Most of the companies do not want to register in Israel suddenly because of one employee sitting here. So the cleanest way is to register as an individual entrepreneur and to issue them invoices and pay taxes in Israel on this. Definitely, like in practice, if people work in Israel, and I don't know, sometimes they, couple of times per year, they write articles for some magazine abroad, and they paid abroad, they're paid on their foreign bank account. Technically, this is also subject to tax, but practically almost no one reports this. I will not advise you not to report, but just to let you know how it happens. And what you need to know, while you don't need to report foreign income, which is subject to exemption in Israel, the tax authorities, the Mas הכנסה, has instruments to check whether you are acting in good faith. What do I mean? Once in a while, the tax authorities may send you a form basically asking, what money are you living on? What are your sources of income? We don't see the taxes from you in Israel. Tell us what's happening. And you should be able to answer it, like more or less, like with good arguments. You may say, okay, my husband is working and he's paying the taxes, or I'm receiving rent from my, I don't know, 5 apartments in New York and I'm living like a king, or things like this. So tax authorities have a way to control you, and especially if you are getting money on your bank account in Israel. The exemption is valid for 10 years after the moment when you first became Israeli tax resident. As many things in taxes, this is the game of words, yes? It doesn't say a date of Aliyah. It says the date when you first became Israeli resident. We will talk about it later in the next session, but for the majority of you, this will be the 10 years after the date of Aliyah. Okay, let's speak a bit about returning residence. In Hebrew, it's Toshav Chozer. Toshav Chozer, it's an Israeli citizen, Israeli resident who lived abroad for many years and then he or she returns to Israel. They get benefits similar to benefits of new immigrants, Olim Chadashim. And there are 2 layers of returning resident status. There is Toshav Chozer, which is returning resident, and Toshav Chozer Vatik, which is a veteran returning resident, like after 6 years and after 10 years. And the person the Israeli citizen who didn't live in Israel, who was not an Israeli resident for more than 10 years, gets tax benefits similar to a new immigrant. Returning resident who lived outside of Israel between 6 years and 10 years gets slightly lower benefits. He or she is exempted for 5 years from foreign passive income and for 10 years from foreign capital gains, but only on the assets he or she acquired while she or he was foreign. So if you bought something in Israel, or you bought something when you were still living in Israel, went abroad, came back, this is not exempt. This is for returning residents. For Olim Chadashim, there is no such restriction. So the legend, you remember the legend. The legend was that any foreign income is exempt for new immigrants. It's not exactly true. For the first 10 years, the new immigrants are exempt from tax on foreign sourced passive income and also business and salary income in case the work was performed abroad physically. And we'll meet for the next session and discuss some documentation and tax returns.